Welcome back to the Igniting Consciousness podcast with your host, Dr. Natalie Horion. We're continuing on with the Natural Hygiene series. Talked about restful sleep last week, and if you didn't hear it, go back and have a listen to it. But now we're continuing on and we're talking about adequate relaxation. You might think it should be pretty much the same as what I talked about last week when it came to sleep, but it's not. In fact, that's what I want to emphasize, is that relaxation doesn't mean you need to sleep. Yes, you need to sleep. Go back and listen to that, as I said. But we also need to know different ways and modalities of truly having adequate relaxation and the importance of having that throughout your day. We weren't put here on this planet to just work all the time and never rest. We need to make sure that we're having adequate relaxation throughout our day because it is just as important as moving and driving and taking action toward things. Now, you can't just relax all day long and lay down and expect things to happen. Things can happen. I'll get to that here in just a moment, but you definitely do need to take action. But we're focusing on the relaxation part because that's not the problem here, or because that is the problem here in America specifically, and probably in many other parts of the world, is we're so busy working. We're in this 9 to 5 idea, or 10 to 6, whatever the hours are. We have to do and get all this stuff done. A lot of stress, a lot of action, a lot of not doing enough, and then now we've got fear and anxiety and panic and worry, and we're trying to meet deadlines, and you see how stressful it is just as I'm talking about it. We need to make sure we can relax throughout the day too. It's just as important to intersperse the relaxation times in between our working times so that way we can actually be more productive. You can have more clarity, better thoughts, and the ability to be able to be more efficient with our time and with our energy, and really more importantly, have more joy. Because if we're pushing, we a lot of times become tired because we're not relaxing in the process. We're not allowing that relaxation to happen because we're afraid we're not going to be able to get something done, or there's not enough time in the day to do things. And there is. We just have to prioritize and be more efficient with the utilization of our energy, and having relaxation practices throughout our day are going to be helpful. So let's talk about what some of those relaxation practices are. And you don't have to do them for very long. In fact, if you have more time, awesome, do it, especially if you need to clear your mind. And I'm talking to those of you that, just like how I was, and I still get in this sometimes, where you get in this tizzy. Your mind is just ongoing, and you're hitting overwhelm, and you're trying to do this and trying to do that, and then you get stopped from doing this and stopped from doing that. Kid starts crying, they need you, someone else needs you, something is always happening where you can't continue and follow through on anything that you want to follow through, and you're I just need to relax. Or sometimes you really just want to scream. Or take a deep breath. Relaxation can be as simple as pausing and focusing on your breath. I tell my patients this all the time in my chiropractic office. I want you to take a deep breath. Inhaling through your nose, expanding the stomach, the lower part of your diaphragm, the lower part of your lungs, and exhaling out through your mouth. Taking a pause like that when you're in the middle of any kind of circumstance. Maybe you got in a heated discussion. Maybe someone is yelling at you. Maybe you're feeling very built up and anxious inside. Whatever the emotion is, pause before responding, before reacting. Just pause and take a deep breath. In through the nose, expanding the chest. And out through the mouth, pushing that air out. If you want to start focusing on breathing in the good air, quality, healing, cleansing, purifying, or as some would say, the prana. Breathe in the prana. Breathe in the life force energy. Breathe in the answers. Breathe in the clarity. Exhale out anything that does not serve you. Exhaling out the toxins. It really does happen. Exhaling out the toxins. Mental, chemical, physical, emotional. Exhale anything that's not serving you. The fear, the anger, the worry, the anxiety, the guilt. And start just for a couple seconds or a couple series of those. Breathing in through the nose for 4 seconds. Exhaling out, trying to double that exhaling out for 8 seconds. If that's too hard, then inhale for 3, exhale out for 6. So it's doing the double on the inhale, exhaling out longer, because we have to take more time to focus on breathing out and releasing that does not serve us anymore. That in of itself, then you can respond. Then you can react, and it won't really be as much of a reaction. It'll really be a knowing how to respond properly to whatever the circumstance, the situation was. It's amazing what the power of the breath is, the power of the prana, the power of breathing in the spirit, the energy, the life force energy of what that can do for you. And that's just one way. And if you want to have a practice of that, you can actually have a practice of sitting down, closing your eyes, focusing on the breath, and then you can start to relax every part of your body, which I'm going into another way of doing this. So you can sit and do breathing, you can stand and do breathing, depending upon where you're at and what feels most restful or relaxing in the moment and the time that you have allotted. Just make sure you do it, okay? But whether you want to sit and do it, you can sit down, put your hands on your lap, put your hands over your heart, focusing on warming up this area here in your heart, because everything is powerful when you're working from the heart. That's what love is. Love is the highest emotion and the highest expression. And when you can work through love, then love can do powerful things. Not only just feel good with sharing with another, but love for earth, love for surroundings, love for every person and their differences, love for yourself. But doing breathing while you're sitting or do breathing while you're laying down. And you can start to do a body scan is what you can do. You can focus from the toes, relaxing the toes, breathing in, breathing out. If you're laying down or sitting, what you can also do is you can focus on putting your hands just around where your xiphoid process is, where your diaphragm is. So just go below that and put your hand there. So you can focus on breathing in through the element of your belly right there versus breathing up here with your shoulders. In the upper part of your lungs, which people are so used to doing. That's the type of breathing that happens whenever you get anxious, when you get upset, when you get mad. You're like, huff, right? Don't breathe up there. That's a very stressful type of breathing. We want to slow down the breathing, and we want to really fill up the lower part of our lungs. So then you can start to expand up. But so you can help by bringing the awareness and the breathing in your belly. They call it yogic breathing, baby belly breathing, but regardless, belly breathing, expanding the lower part of your lungs. Put your hands down there in the lower part under your diaphragm, right there. So that gives you the awareness while you're laying down or sitting to expand that. So you can feel the rising of your hand if you're laying down, the rising of the hand of the belly, or you can feel the expanding of it while you're sitting or while you're standing. I can feel it right now as I'm standing. And holding that so you can be aware of not raising your shoulders. So you're not doing the stressful breathing, you're doing the healing, relaxation, restorative type of breathing, cleansing, purifying, right? And breathing in through the nose. Really want to focus breathing in through the nose, because mouth breathing, as we know, is not good. It's led to a lot of sleeping disorders, and there's a lot of various reasons why they say that you're breathing your mouth breather, from the alignment of your jaw, from the alignment of your spinal bones. Of course, we address that within chiropractic through the adjustments as well. Where your tongue is being placed, if you're nasally congested, etc. There's a lot of reasons why people become mouth breathers, because they can't breathe through their nose. We want to breathe through our nose so we can make sure we're cleansing those airways and purifying and creating flow in those airways, let alone not to breathe in through your mouth, because we want that area not to be dry, not to be viscous, and it just goes on as far as the elements of why we don't want to be breathing in through the mouth. Mouth for talking, for speaking, for manifesting, for eating. Breathing in through the nose, breathing out through the mouth. Okay, so putting the hands on there, and then from there, it's just like feeling the rising, the lowering of your belly, of your hands, will allow you to be able to relax and just start focusing in different areas. So start focusing on your toes, relaxing your toes. Feeling the muscles relax into your ankles, into your lower leg, into your upper leg, into your hips, into your abdomen region. Maybe you can even put awareness into your glute muscles right there, to your butt muscles, right? And going up into the heart, bringing the warmth and bringing the awareness in there. And then you can be aware of the fact of your raising, your lowering, and the solar plexus. And for those that are aware of the chakras, which we'll talk about that more too. So you're going from the root into the sacral, into the diaphragm, into the emotional solar plexus center, into the heart, into the throat, relaxing your throat right here. How many of us clench and you got your muscles, your platysma that gets all clenched up and expanded and everything? Clenching of the jaw, relaxation of the throat and the jaw and the muscles all around your face right here. Going up into the third eye chakra right there and going into the crown and relaxing on the head, and just you can start to visualize. So this is where the visualizations come in with relaxation. You can visualize squeezing like a toothpaste, squeezing from the bottom up. You can squeeze and start to bring awareness into the muscles of the chakras, of those very important systems of the body, squeezing in between. We call it the perineum, which is in between the anus and then also the front urethra area, so like right up the middle right there. Squeezing there and squeezing up and then bringing it up, and then you're trying to focus like you're raising up like a fluid. You're squeezing the toothpaste up through the top right here. And you can do that with your breath. These are different types of relaxation, very powerful, deeply powerful relaxation techniques that can put you into different states of mind, different levels of consciousness, different brain waves, which I've talked about in other episodes. I talked about it in the sleep episode, talking about bringing that into different levels of awareness and clarity and areas of creation and ability to think, to process, which is so important for us to be able to think and process, because our mental is just as important as our emotions, is just as important as our physical body, because our mental body and our emotional body will affect our physical body as well. So relaxation is very important throughout the day, so we can make sure we're continuing this healing journey, which is ongoing. And we're doing it by way of our mind, relaxing our mind, and then trying to like balance out our emotions and not always react with our emotions. So we can go toward things that we want to go toward versus reacting in a way that's causing all kinds of other mental havoc and physical havoc on our body. So you can imagine squeezing that up through the chakras, continuing on up into the heart, warming that and feel like a warming sensation going up into the throat, going up into the third eye, the ajna, and going into the crown chakra. And moving on up, and it's like, imagine moving out, but you can also start to imagine kind of like this warm, I like thinking of like golden light energy coming over the head and coming down through the chakras, and always visualizing the beauty of this. And I love this of being a chiropractor, that this is all in alignment with your spinal cord, your spinal column, the vertebra that hold us upright as human beings on this planet is our spinal cord, or our spinal column, which protects and encases our spinal cord, and all the nerves that come off of it that go to every single tissue, every single organ inside of our body, telling what to do, how to do it, when to do it. So nervous system is so important. We need to make sure our nervous system is functioning properly. Go see a chiropractor if you're not seeing one. It's amazing what things can do by waking up your nervous system, let alone following natural hygiene practices and eating your species-specific diet and doing relaxation techniques. So back to relaxation techniques we're talking about. So visualizing this surrounding golden light energy going down through the column, waking things up, warming things up, down throughout the toes, and it's like releasing things to the toes. Or you can imagine your toes being grounded to the earth. Some people like to visualize this like red beam of energy if you're sitting or if you're laying, however you want to think of it, but red beam of energy coming from your root chakra. Like I said, it's in the perineum region right there, the bottom and the bum, like the very bottom. If you were sitting on your sit bones, right in between there, from the front and the back and the between there is where the perineum is, and you can visualize like a red laser beam going down to the earth, anchoring you, grounding you. That's also what relaxation is all about, is anchoring and grounding you, instead of being in this mental, like, oh my gosh, all in the mind. And the mind is helpful, but it is not helpful whenever it's going, cranking. And it's like almost like visualize this like Jack in the Box going crazy and misfiring all the time. We don't want the misfiring happening, because it absolutely affects us physically, chemically, and emotionally as well. As of course, obviously, mentally, where you just don't feel like you have clarity of thought, you're stressed out, and then now you're taking medications or you're trying to use drugs or whatever else to relax you, which that is not the answer. We can do this on our own. We have the control on our own, and not having to use external substances in order to do so. Same thing with sleep. So visualizing that, whatever works for you, whether you're laying or sitting down or standing, however is best for you, but just taking some time to do that. For an example, meditation, Similar, you can use breath work as a form of meditation. And meditation, the whole concept of it is to be in the nothingness, in no sense, being in the innocence. Get it again, in no sense, being the innocence of what childlike wonder. Their children, like we're always like, they're so innocent. They're in no sense. They're in that wonder. They're in that, oh my gosh, everything is possible. And we lose it as we get older because we go through experiences. And I know, I've been there, done that. I'm trying to save you so you don't have to go through this or go through that. And life is hard. It's all about work, work, work. No. Yes, we've been conditioned to think that. A lot of us have. But it is time to start deconditioning. And that is not what life is all about. Now, we can have enjoyment in the work that we do. And then you just feel like you can keep going. And you don't have to rest. That's different. If you're in alignment, you're doing things that truly bring you joy and you don't feel like you want to stop versus the need, the pressure of having to keep going because it will go away. That's different than I'm feeling a drive, a pull. It's like you're like getting pulled toward doing whatever it is because you have so much enjoyment with it. That's different. So getting back in the innocence of meditation and then some will say in the darkness, and like dark is not evil. Like, we're in a world of polarity, of light and darkness, of good and bad, and of male and female and yin and yang, right? All these, and that's the world that allows us to be able to see things differently. It allows us to like be able to see both sides to it, to know what we like, what we don't like, to go toward or to go away from, and all of our individualness and everything. So going back to meditation, there's so many different types of meditation. You can do sound frequency. And I really want to encourage you to stay away from technology whenever you're doing this as much as possible. It's one thing if you're on the YouTube doing some free relaxation technique meditations or having some sound frequencies for relaxation. Maybe it's nature sounds. Maybe it's certain tuning fork sounds and hertz that are being displayed. Maybe it's sound bowls, crystal bowls that are being played, and they're activating different chakras as well that are allowing you to relax because you have different areas that are tight and not mobile or like not moving and resonating the way they need to because everything's in frequencies. So sometimes it's bird calls, it's waves. Like I said, it could be nature, it could be maybe acoustic music. Like try to really stay away from like vocals. You can do vocals, but not like word vocals. Maybe try doing because whenever you start to hear words, that we have visions and things that show up with the words that are being said. So it's better if it's just like, like if there's just vocals or ahs and different types of those sounds that are happening versus words where we bring visuals and associations with those words because our mind will start to go into a different place. So that's why acoustic music is really good. Maybe it's really relaxing for you to listen to guitar, maybe string, maybe wind instruments, whatever it might be. And so you can do that, preferably not putting like the devices, the Bluetooth devices right into your ear because electromagnetic frequencies going right near the pineal gland, which we don't really, it's good if you're putting the frequencies of these relaxation techniques so that can like kind of bypass what the EMF usually does, but preferably just listening it out like on its own. Or if you need to put on a headphone like this, like maybe that Bluetooth one versus the one that sits right inside the ear, which is right near the pineal gland. And we really don't want to be calcifying that any more than what it already is. I'll have another conversation about that some other time. But our being out in nature, just being out in nature. We can get out in nature, just sit in nature. That is a relaxation. Just sitting in nature, hearing the waterfall somewhere, hearing a moving creek, maybe hearing crickets, maybe hearing whatever, chipmunks or squirrels going up a tree and the leaves rustling depending on the time of the year that it is. Whatever that is that can feel relaxing to you, just sit for a little bit or just stand. Arms outstretched, doing some of the breathing that I already talked about. Arms up, because this is the power stance, right? Legs apart, arms up. I am powerful. And just having positive thoughts. You can also do a relaxation of just stretching. Don't have to go into a full yogic, full experience, but just bringing your arms up, bringing your arms over, doing a little bit of a banana stretch, feeling the elongation of your fascial tissue along the sides. Arms up over on the other side and leaning over. Oh, it feels so good right now. It's beautiful to do that when you get up in the morning, doing like an awaken morning stretch, bringing your arms up overhead. I'm swinging my arms underneath and bringing all the way up. And you can grab and interlock your fingers like this and stretching over like that. Or really better yet, the side you're trying to stretch, grabbing the wrist, pulling over like that. For those that are listening to the podcast, I'll tell you what I'm doing is I'm doing overhead stretch. They call it the sunrise stretch, or the reaching over, call it the banana stretch, where you grab one wrist with your arms overhead, pulling over, stretching and elongating the torso on one side, and then going over and doing it on the other. You can circle it around. So doing different stretching techniques overall is what I'm trying to get to. Can also be very relaxing with your eyes closed. Just close your eyes just for a moment. Like I said, however many minutes. So I guess you can do sound baths. So then you can take this as far and extensive as it feels good for you. Or you can be as easy, because if you're doing it in between your workday, I get it, you don't want to do it too long, but it is important to do it. I tell people this all the time in the chiropractic office. I'm like, I know you feel like if you just push through that you just need to get this done. And if you notice, whenever you start like pushing, you become less and less efficient, and the quality goes down, your clarity goes down, and it takes you longer to get that something done, where if you just got up and you just walked around, maybe went and go to the bathroom, take a drink of water, which is another way to just do a quick relaxation thing. Just get up, walk, and move your body, reset the rhythm, and then come back to the work that you were doing, especially if it was in front of a computer, because it'll exhaust you neurologically quicker. You'll find that you probably get really hungry sitting in front of a computer all the time. And for that reason, you need to keep eating to stimulate. So getting up and walking away and coming back, and you'll find that you'll have better clarity. You'll get things done more efficiently than what you would if you just push through. It's almost like you kind of need to do it like every hour, and then get up. Or you can just sit in your seat, close your eyes, do a couple breathing techniques. Sit in your seat, preferably if you stand, get up, raise your arms up, do a couple little stretching movements, just so you can get the body activated from sitting in whatever position you were sitting in for that amount of time. Notice how that can be a relaxation of itself. You can do body scans, visualizing, just kind of waking things up, and just like, all right, I'm aware of my toes, I'm aware of my ankles, I'm aware of my lower leg, I'm aware of my quads, my upper leg, my thighs, my butt, my hips, my stomach, and bring that awareness into those different areas of your body. I'm aware of my low back, I'm aware of my mid back, I'm aware of my chest, I'm aware of my shoulders, and moving up my hands, I'm aware of my fingers, my arms. Don't forget the arms, I forgot those. Be aware of that. Doing body scans, and then doing body tapping. Sometimes you just feel like you need to tap on your heart. Bringing tapping on the mind, just light tapping. There's a whole nother level of body techniques. And for those, again, on the podcast listening right here, I'm just tapping in different areas of my body to bring awareness, bring in the top of my head. And what I'm doing is with my fingers, just like slightly bend your fingers. And then with the tips, just kind of doing a tap, not like aggressive, just a light tap on the head, on the back of the head, around your face, under your eyes, on your chin. And these are also activating lymphatic flow. So that's another relaxation thing. And like around your ears, in front of your ears, around the face, right on your below your eyes, go around the top of your eyes, because a lot of straining of our eyes when we're staring at things all day long. Forehead, how much stress and strain you put on your forehead. I'm tapping along my forehead, both hands. Going down the throat, and you want to focus like you're trying to draw the lymph flow down through the throat and into the chest plate right there. You can do tapping on the chest plate, tapping just below your collarbone or your clavicle, so below your collar. And all of these are very huge points that have lymph nodes. Tapping around the breast tissue, the chest area, just under the shoulder, right on top, around the breast tissue, around the armpit. There's a lot of lymph nodes all around here that would just help flow into the kidneys. So again, you can do that all around the body, just doing a little tapping technique, and it's amazing what that can do to stimulate different areas of your body and provide relaxation. At the same time, we're providing activation of areas that are being sluggish. It's wonderful what it can do. So doing it all around your head, to do it wherever that feels right for you. Being away from technology, any amount that you can, especially if you're working in front of the computer and in front of the technology all the time. Make sure you take just a little bit of time away for relaxation. And again, you can do it laying or sitting. So those are just some examples of different relaxation techniques and ideas. Listening to different music, lying, sitting, breath work, focusing on the breath, body scans, tapping different areas of the body, getting out in nature, sitting in nature, standing in nature, stretching, or just closing your eyes, listening to the air. Maybe you find a quiet spot in your office and you just hear the air flow and passing through the ducts and the vents and everything. Even just that. It can be as simple or even more complex, using sound bowls and tuning forks and listening to hertz and frequency music on your phones or on YouTube. Or if you have sound bowls yourself, then just start to get lost in the sound of that. You can use color therapy as well, using different lenses you can put on. I talked about blue blockers in my sleep conversation episode last week. And you can buy blue blockers and you can get those that activate different chakras. You can get colored lenses, rose-colored lenses, and different colors are associated with different chakras, and they can activate or relax. And they can also just relax in general from the blue light stimulation, which is another thing. Move away from the blue light stimulation for a little while, because that's activating and getting your nervous system to just stay charged and not really stay on point necessarily, but overwhelm your nervous system. So get away from the blue lights, which is like the bright lights that you have in your office. I always relate it to Walmart. I relate it to like the Costco's and the Sam Clubs and everything out. They have those bright lights that are really, it's really like overly stimulating. So wearing those blue blockers, just getting outside in nature with the natural sunlight. So that way you can also allow your body to just kind of have a little relaxation throughout the day. I hope you found this very powerful and very helpful for you. Another thing I started doing before I got off here is I started rubbing on my hands right here. That's another natural way. You can just start to squeeze, kind of just squeeze different areas of the hands, of the fingers, or if you can, squeeze on your foot, because that's reflexology, which can be very relaxing as well. Without even knowing and understanding it, reflexology is definitely associated with different organs and systems throughout the body, and people can get built up like stones or crystals, and so just squeezing on that, making it a daily practice to just squeeze on your fingers, giving your hands and your toes and your fingers a light massage. It's amazing what that'll do for you as well. If you want to go get a massage, then by all means, go ahead and do that as well. And then also dry brushing is very important. It's great for lymphatic flow, bringing the blood flow to the superficial layers of the tissue, help with freedom of motion there. Not probably going to be able to do that in the workplace or anything, but if you want to make that as part of your daily routine to also allow your body to have flow and movement, it kind of relates to relaxation in the sense that it's not stagnant and that it's allowing your body to have relaxation if it's been too stagnant or built up or pent up. It allows you to release the pressure, so to say, in different areas. I hope you found this very helpful. I know that I use variations of these practices on a daily basis, and it just becomes like normal for me. I don't even have to think about it. So yeah, feel free to use as much as you want or as little as you want, but make sure you're utilizing those relaxation techniques different times throughout your day on a daily basis. I love you all and hope you have a beautiful rest of your day.